Hi everyone. Here we're going to be going over a Jupyter notebook with various pieces of codes to accomplish our Lab 1, which is a project for the Government Policy Institute, a made-up institute, but with tasks that are very real and useful for understanding and applying these processes of data wrangling and data cleaning that are so important in data analytics. So the goals in general are to create different kinds of analyses, analytical outputs. But to do so, we're going to need to join several data sets that are found from different sources. Often our data does not come all at once and all ready to be used for the purposes we need, because people create different data for different purposes with different characteristics and so on. So for us, the final data set should be a data set of states. We are going to look at states. We want to know about states' GDP and poverty and taxes, and we want to create one final data set of states. So the state, each state, like Michigan, New York, etc., these are going to be the unit of analysis. The unit of analysis of the data set is the state. Therefore, each role is a state, and we only have one role per state. And to do all that we need to do, we're going to clean the data sets to make sure the columns have the values that we want and the values that can be joined on. So as part of what we're going to be doing is this joining, which is very important to know how to do in Python and in similar to other contexts. And we want to have this one single final data set with measure of interests, including GDP, which is gross domestic product, and is the number of all the price of all the goods and services sold and bought in a country or a state or area, the population in terms of the number of people, the taxes, which can be in terms of percentage or total value, we'll see what we have, and the poverty rate, which can also come in different scales and different measurements. So first, we're going to import our common libraries and tools that we often need. So which is pandas, and we import it as PT. So we can use PT and make reference to it and import all the functions of pandas. NumPy is also very useful. I'm not sure if we use it here. And then also RE is for reguess or regress, which is useful for text analysis. And we employ it here a little bit, but we're going to get to this more in depth in the next sections of the course. So as you know, with the Jupyter Notebook, we shift enter to run. So if you just press enter, you go to the next line. So to actually run a cell, you want to press shift enter. Now, I already ran all the cells, and as you probably know, you can go to cell and run all the cells or run all the below or all the above, and this can be also very useful. And that's why it is important to have each cell in an order of the processing of the data. So sometimes we can add like new cells here just to check something out, like, oh, what was the length of that? What was the length of that data frame? And you put something here, and you put it on or top or above, and you just create little things here and there. And in some cases, it doesn't matter because this doesn't, for example, apply any function or assign any value. But for things that do matter, that assign values and change values, then we want to make sure they are in order. And I will keep talking about this throughout this video. So we import the libraries you need. I set some options here regarding suppressing scientific notation and making decimals display shorter. Here, we're going to import all the data sets. We're going to use this standard read underscore CSV function of the pandas, and we're going to load it into a variable. So these are the names of the variables that I'm giving. And we have 5 different data sets because each data set has different information, and that's how they come. This is how I was able to find them. And so we're going to load a county poverty data set, a state codes data set, a state GDP data set, a state population data set, a state tax data set, and I removed the actual line of code here so you can add it on your own, and you can see there's an example already. So you just kind of, a lot of these you just really repeat what is already there, since this is our first lab. Here I really like using the length function, so just to make sure I imported everything and it came like as it should be. So the length gives the length of the data frame, the number of rows, and of course it's always good to use as well the head statement of the pandas data frame. So if you have state codes dot head, you see the first 5 rows, default 5 rows, and you can change. If you want to just see 2, you can just put 2 here, and you just see 2. If you want to see 7, see more, you see them here, and then always it's good to check, a sanity check, to make sure you actually uploaded the data correctly, and it's all there as you expect. Notice that for state, I have 55, 56, 51. So this is weird. Like, how many states are there really? And then you can check what's going on with the different states. If we just want to look at one column of one of the data frames, we can do it like this. This is how you refer to the column. And if you do the whole data frame, it looks like that. And I wanted to show you here this thing that this column has a asterisk. I mean, these values have asterisks on them, the states. So that's kind of weird. We're going to need to deal with that later. Also, GDP looks like there's a money sign and comma. So we may have an issue with data type there. If we do D types, you see the whole data frame, data types, status object, GDP 2020 is object, GDP 2020 in millions is integer. I've already changed some of these, but you need to make sure we have the correct data types later on, and we'll go over that. So what I wanted to show you here is a problem that's going to come up later, is that, and I learned this, I didn't even know I learned it by because some functions were not working, but if you just do, okay, let's just look at state. State is the name of the variable of the state name. And it just looks like, okay, there's an asterisk there, but it's no big deal. But actually, if you go to unique, so this is a function to get the unique values. So if you just do unique, we should be the same because we only have 1 row per state. So they are all unique already. There's only 1 instance of each. But actually what this function does is also brings in the full something behind about the characters and the encoding. So this is a little bit odd, and it really shouldn't be like this. Like if we use another, for example, state codes, I think state codes. No, let's do state codes and then state. I don't know if it's state name, but state. No, it wasn't state name. Maybe state name. Unique. It doesn't really show that. So we have the actual names should just be like this, without asterisks and without all that encoding information. Those are character encoding. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about text mining. So that's going to come up as a problem later, but I'll show you how to get rid of it. And that's just a key on to always examine the data, look at the data as much as you can to have an idea of what's going on. You can get rid of that. Here's state taxes. State taxes is the data frame of taxes. So the state total taxes, property tax. I just want you to focus at least on one, maybe total taxes will be more interesting. Property taxes missing, a lot of the states are missing C, so it's kind of not that interesting to use, could give problems. Income taxes could be a good one. I think everybody has income tax except Nevada. And look, keep looking at the data, you see there's /n, this is a carriage return for the encoding of the data, so this means new line. So sometimes it comes up on the code on the name, so we need to eventually get rid of this and make sure we fix this. So that's state taxes. Okay, so columns and issues. So it's always good, just make sure you take a look at the data As you go through it, you understand what's going on, county poverty. So the poverty is actually not states, it's county. Each row is a county. So the same state is represented multiple times because the unit of analysis here is a county and each row is a distinct, unique county. So this is why this one is much longer than the other ones we saw over here. It's 3,142 rows. And the other ones are maybe 55 or 56 because these include other territories like American Samoa and some other places that are not part of the 50 states, and also some of them I already see here, you see DC. So this is 50 plus DC, District of Columbia, which is not officially a state.